Good morning, Bastion Bobcats. I hope everybody is doing well. As you know, next week, June 1st, students have been invited to come back to school. This is family choice, so some students are choosing to stay home and will wait till September to join us. Some families feel it's important for their children to get started now, to visit the school, get back into a little bit of a routine. Either decision is totally fine with us. For those students we'll see next week, we're excited to see you. For those students that we will see in September, we're looking forward to seeing you back in September. Some students might be a little nervous about coming back to school, and that's okay. I know there's lots of adults that are a little nervous about coming back to school. Lots of people have questions about how close will I be together with my friends? Other questions might be, do I have to wash my hands? Do I have to wear a mask at school? Well, I'm going to do this little video to help you understand what some of the new things at school are what kind of things are going to take place at school. In your classrooms, there will be learning. Okay? You will be learning similar things and doing similar things to the students that are doing home learning opportunities. There will be some changes because you're actually face-to-face with your teacher and you're actually with your classmates. But for the most part, things will be pretty much the same. You'll see different things around the school. So some of those might be new, some new routines that we're going to put in place. And we're making these changes so that all of our students and our staff members are safe and healthy. So let's go for a little tour around and see some of these things that we're going to start doing at Bastion to make sure that we all feel good, that we're all respecting one another, and that we are making sure that we're looking out and taking care of all our Bastion Bobcats. All right, let's go. Now, first thing, when you arrive at school, whether you get dropped off in the car lane or you walk onto the school grounds with your parents, we're going to ask that when you get to the gates, you say goodbye to mom and dad. Give them a hug, give them a kiss, say goodbye, and then come on to the school grounds by yourself. We want to try to reduce the number of adults on the school grounds in the mornings, even during the day and after school. So that's one new change, is that we're going to ask that you say goodbye to mom and dad at the gates and you come onto the school grounds on your own. That way we won't have mom and dad hanging out, talking with other adults, having more people on the school grounds than we actually need. Okay, so that's number one. Say goodbye to mom and dad at the gates and then come on into the school grounds by yourself. When you get into the school grounds, you're going to go right to your classroom door. Let's go to classroom doors. Now, when you get to the area where your class usually lines up, you'll notice a little bit of change. So for example, this is at the bottom of the stairs outside Madame Candy's room. When her students arrive, they are going to put their backpack on one of the X's. We've just put X's around on the outside school with sidewalk chalk. Once you put your backpack down, if you have time, you can go and see some friends. If it's close to the bell, we'll just ask that you stay at the X with your backpack. Your teacher will invite you up to the classroom one at a time. Some classes, like Madame Nadine's class, we're going to have too many children by the doors because she's really close to Madame Van Varseveld's class. So some cones will be placed for her students, and you go and line up at those cones. Same thing, leave your backpack and then go see some friends, or if it's close to the bell, just stay at your cone with your backpack. Madame Van Varseveld or your teacher will open up the door and invite you in at one at a time. After you wait in line and the bell goes, your teacher will open up the door. They're going to meet you at the classroom door. Your teacher is going to ask you just a few simple questions before you enter the classroom. They're going to ask you if you have been coughing, if you have a really bad cough, or if you've been sneezing. Teachers might ask you if If your bones and joints, muscles hurt, those kinds of simple questions. We want students to answer honestly because we want to make sure that all of our students entering the school are healthy. If for some reason you weren't feeling well, it's not like we're just going to leave you outside. We'll talk to your parents. Madame Jager or I will come and see you, and we'll take care of things so that we don't have students waiting outside thinking, oh, they can't go in the school. Okay, so anytime you're feeling ill, please let an adult know. So, if Madame Van Varseveld is here at the door, she'll ask me those questions. I have my backpack on my back, and I'm going to go into the classroom. When you get into the classroom, you're just going to walk right through the coat room. If you have muddy shoes on or really dirty shoes, just kick them off, put them on the floor out of the way. And then before you do anything else, you are going to walk directly to your classroom sink. At your classroom sink, you are going to wash your hands. Now, it's very important that we wash our hands before we touch stuff in the classroom, begin any activities. So I still have my backpack on, so I'm going to wash my hands, get a couple of pumps of water. 20 seconds is what we should be washing our hands for. Okay, I'm going to wash in between my fingers, the backs of my hands. I'm going to wash my thumbs. I'm going to take my fingernails and do circles on my palm. Other hand. I'm going to take my fingers, put them together, and rub them back and forth. Okay, so I've done my palms, my fingernails, backs of my hands, fingernails and all hands again, and thumbs. Rinse. Now before you turn the tap off, get a piece of paper towel. Dry your hands with the paper towel. Use the paper towel to turn the tap off, and then throw the paper towel in the compost. Then you're good to go to your desk. Your teacher will let you know the desk you're supposed to go to. Here is Madame Van Varseveld's classroom. She only has about 9 desks out right now. Those desks are spaced nicely. When you get to your desk, you are going to put your backpack on the back of your chair. And that's where your backpack will go for the day. That way you can get your lunch, your water bottle. Don't forget, you should be bringing 1 or 2 water bottles to school because we're not able to use the fountains at school. You keep your backpack there so you can get your supplies out and your lunch, your water bottle, and you're not walking all around the classroom, into the coat room, back to your desk, that kind of stuff. Okay, so backpack on the back of your chair. Then your teacher will let you know what you can do. You can go to a center. Teachers have individual baggies for students to use at centers, or you sit at your desk and get ready to do your morning bell work. Teachers will also be setting up individual bins for you. Okay? In the bins are the supplies that you're going to use. Could you please remember to bring some of your supplies back? If you still have pencil crayons or felts, scissors, eraser, glue, stuff that was sent home before spring break, if you have that, we're going to ask you to bring it back. Please put it in a little box or a big Ziploc bag and keep it in your backpack. But if you've lost some of those items or you just want to keep them at home, we do have some supplies at school that will become your supplies. We don't have enough for everybody, but we do have some extras. Okay, so please remember, your teacher will assign you to a bin, and that will be your bin when you're at school. All right, so that's the morning routine. Wait for your teacher to enter, answer some simple questions honestly, go wash your hands, backpack to the back of your chair at your desk, and start your morning activities. All right, let's see what's next. When you're walking in the halls, we're going to have students walking on opposite sides of the hall. So down the right-hand side of the hall. There are going to be arrows on the floor of the hall that will remind you of the direction you should be walking on that side. So even if you're walking as a class to music room, you're going to space out and you're going to walk along the right-hand side of the hall. Students walking on the other side, going the opposite direction, will be walking following the arrows on the opposite side, so you're not too close together in the hallways. So look for those green arrows on the floor. Follow the arrows on that side of the hall. Washrooms. We're only allowed to have 2 students going into a washroom at once. So if you go into the washroom and you notice there's 2 students in there, you're gonna have to leave the washroom, and there are arrows on the floor. You just stand on an X is on the floor for waiting spots. You're just gonna wait on the X until somebody comes out of the washroom, then you can go in. We're going to be doing lots and lots of hand washing at school. So same thing, when you go into the washroom, you should give your hands a quick wash. And when you leave, especially when you leave the washroom, make sure you wash your hands for that 20 seconds, dry your hands, leave the washroom. The washrooms are not a place for students to gather and be talking and goofing around. Go into the washroom, do what you need to do, wash your hands, back to class. When you leave the washroom, the next person in line will go in. Now, because we have reduced number of students at school, the washrooms aren't going to be super busy. But we do need you guys to monitor for yourselves when you can go into the washroom and when you should wait. At all schools, the playgrounds are open, so students will be able to be on the playgrounds before school if they get here early, during recess and lunch. We just ask that you guys be safe on the playgrounds and respect distance. Okay? We don't always need to be 6 feet apart. The adults, we're going to be doing 6 feet apart all the time. The students, you guys work on 6 feet, but if sometimes you get a little bit closer, it's not a big deal. We do want kids to keep their hands to themselves. That has always been a rule at Bastion. At every elementary school I've worked at, we keep our hands to ourselves. A, that's being safe, so nobody gets pushed off the playground. And B, that's being healthy. If we keep our hands to ourselves and we try to keep our distance as best we can, we're going to be able to make sure everybody is safe and having fun on our playgrounds. Now, what if you're outside and you have to go to the washroom? Let's go see what you do. Now I just realized when I finished that last video and I said, now what if you have to go to the washroom? Let's see what you do. I didn't mean in the washroom. Everybody knows what they need to do in the washroom. What I mean is, what do you do when you want to get back into school to go to the washroom? You're going to come to the front doors. You're going to have an orange ticket from one of the lunch hour supervisors. When you get to the front doors, you're going to knock. Mrs. Moley or an adult at the front will let you in. Before you head in, you have a little squirt of hand sanitizer. Rub it on your hands. You go in, go to the washroom, and then head back outside. Remember, washrooms are for getting in, doing what you need to do, getting out. If a couple of students are going to the washroom at a time, we might ask students to wait. There's the X's in the hall. We might have a student wait outside till the first student comes back out. Okay, because remember, we don't want groups of students in the same small space like a washroom. Okay, so orange ticket from a supervisor, little bit of hand sanitizer, head inside, and then come back outside. Now, if you have to come down to the office for anything, because you need to give Mrs. Moley a piece of paper from your teacher, you need a Band-Aid, you've lost your tooth, you're going to notice that there is a baby gate at the door. That is just to remind students and adults that we need to wait at the door. We can ask Mrs. Moley a question. Mrs. Moley will let us know if we can come in, and then you just open up the baby gate, and then you'll see the arrows right there. That's where we want students to wait when they're talking to the secretaries. You'll even notice that there's arrows and lines outside Madame Jeg's and my office door. Okay? These are just reminders for students and staff not to just walk into the office or walk into Madame Jeg in my office, that we need to stop and wait so we have that safe distance between us and students and other adults. All right, so please be respectful of the gate and the X's and lines so we can make sure that everybody is a safe distance when they're talking to one another. Here's another example of a class where there are less desks in the classroom and they are spaced apart. So a bunch of your work will be done at desks. There might be times where you're working on the floor. Teachers are probably going to reduce the amount of time that students are on carpets. Okay, we would like students to be working and doing activities on hard surfaces. Okay, so just a reminder, we want to stay off the floor as best we can, unless your teacher has given you an activity to do and they've told you what area you can do that activity. Some of you might have questions about things that I haven't covered in the video. You might be wondering, do I need to wear a mask at school? People in the grocery stores wear masks. Do I have to wear one? The answer is no. We do not have to wear masks at school. If your parents make the decision that you are to wear a mask, that's up to your parents to make that decision. At school, we're not going to make you wear masks. We're not going to tell you you can't wear a mask. That is a family choice. Remember, masks don't protect you from other people getting you sick. The mask is meant to protect other people in case you might be sick. Okay? It stops the spread of your water droplets from your mouth spreading onto hard surfaces or spreading to other people to breathe in. I think the big thing is to remember that if you're a little bit worried about coming to school, that is okay. Talk to your mom and dad about being a little bit nervous. Talk to your teachers. You can talk to Madame Jeg or myself or Mrs. Roseman, Mrs. Waters. There's always an adult here that you can talk to if you are nervous about being at school. Some families have been home for the last many weeks, and this might be the first time that they're going out and interacting with different people in the public. Okay? We will all respect how you are feeling at school. If you just want to be alone by yourself out on the playground, that's fine. If you want to be talking with friends, playing around, remembering not to touch one another and to keep some space, that is fine too. Okay? But please remember, anytime you're anxious or nervous about something, come and talk to an adult. If some of the things that we have in place, you forget, you can't remember, and you're unsure of what to do, please just ask. We are always here to help. Nobody's going to get in trouble for forgetting to walk on the right-hand side of the hall. We're going to remind you, but you're not going to get in trouble. You're not going to get in trouble if you forget to wash your hands when you have left the washroom. You know, the teacher might say, hey, did you remember to wash your hands? Oh, no, I didn't. We'll just ask you to go wash them. Okay? As we get going with this, it will become easier and easier for students to remember the importance of hand washing and spacing one another apart and not touching each other. When you come to school, like I said, we want you to remember to bring school supplies that you might have taken home before spring break or that your parents picked up for you. We want you to bring 1 or 2 water bottles. The water fountains are going to be turned off. Sinks in the classrooms, they could be used, but kind of as a last resort. We don't want a whole bunch of students hitting their water bottles up against the fountain nozzle and then drinking out of the water bottles. So please do your best to remember to bring 1 or 2 water bottles from home so you don't have to worry about refilling the water bottle at school. Indoor shoes. If you have them at home still, please bring them. If you don't have indoor shoes, we're gonna let it slide a little bit now. The weather's nice. It's just if they're dirty, if it's raining and they're dirty and muddy, you might want to just leave them in the coat room. But if you have them, please bring them. A couple of other things we need to know. The library is going to be closed. Madame Morel-Zalloway will be visiting your classrooms to read some stories, have some book discussions with you. But for classes going into the library, that is not going to happen in the month of June. Music will still take place. Madame Shannon's excited to get music classes going. Mrs. Kolb is excited to see her kindergarten grade 1 classes. You might be in the music room for music, but I think the music teachers want to spend as much time outside as they can doing music classes with you outdoors. The gym. The gym is going to be closed at this point. Teachers have plans to be outside as much as possible, doing activities outside, going for walks outside. The only reason we would open the gym at this point is if we had a whole consecutive number of days of rain and it was just too miserable to head outside, then we would open the gym. And we will put things in place to make sure equipment is clean, that you're not sharing basketballs, getting your hands all sweaty, wiping your face, touching the basketball. We'll put measures like that in place. But for now, the gym will be closed and we'll only open it in a special circumstance. Right. If you or your parents ever have any questions, you can email your teacher, ask your teacher, talk to or email Madame Jeg and I, and we will do our best to answer those questions. Again, we just want everybody to feel safe and comfortable when they come to school, so everybody can be safe and healthy. So those are just a few of the things that you can expect when you come back to school on Monday, next week. Other things that we need to remember. Your parents will be dropping you off in chunks of time in the morning. For example, if your last name starts with the letter D, you'll be dropped off between 7:40 and 7:50. Or you'll arrive at school walking, biking at that time. Like I said at the beginning, you go put your backpack at your door, then you go see some friends, or if it's close to the bell, you wait at the line outside your classroom door. Another thing to expect, recess and lunch. Recess and lunch will be a little bit different. Recess, you're going to be going out with a buddy class and you will be having activities outside, some free time, maybe some organized activities. At lunch, half the school is going to eat their lunch first and then go out and play. Then just a little bit later, the next half of the school will eat their lunch and go outside. Again, we're just trying to reduce the number of students outside on the play structures, outside on the fields. You know, we have beautiful forests, beautiful fields. There's room for kids to spread out, have fun, but we also need to make sure that we are being respectful of distances and not getting big groups of kids hanging out in one spot. Boys and girls, we're going to ask that you keep your toys at home. Things like Beyblades, Pokemon cards, please keep those at home to have fun with at home. We will have some activities at school here that you'll be able to do during recess and lunch at free time, but we'd like you to keep your personal toys at home. That goes for dolls, stuffies, things that you have been used to bringing that you play with at recess and lunch or have in your desk. We're going to ask that those all stay home. All right, so thank you very much for thinking about those things. Remember, the stuff we're putting in place at school is we're not trying to be mean, we're not trying to wreck anybody's fun. Our top priority is that all of our students and adults are safe and healthy at school. Some of these things, it might seem like, really? We have to do that? Well, for now, yes, we do. As time goes on and we realize, we don't really need to do that, we'll make some changes. But for right now, we have to follow these specific things so we are all safe and healthy. Right. So, if you are coming back to school next week, we're looking forward to seeing you. like I said at the beginning, if you're waiting till September to return, we'll still be in contact. I'm going to hope to get some more videos, weekly videos out, and then we just have that anticipation of getting to see you in September. So thank you very much, everybody. Take care. Bye.